Mm. Brothers and sisters, mothers and misters, bunions and blisters, like to welcome you all back to the garage, home of the worldwide mechanics. I'm your lead mechanic, Mac Rashawn. Come on in, get up your, put on your coveralls, put on your tool belt. Let's get this thing on the rack and see where we at. Before we go any further, hit the likes, hit the subs. That's how you show your boy love. Now that we got that started, we can jump immediately into the topic at hand, if you would be so kind. Um, let's see, the mechanics is piling in. Shout out to all of y'all. I see them tools up. One time to the chat. Push says, let's get right to it. Shout out to Push. Shout out to Charlie. All right, I hear y'all. Y'all are ready to rock. Um, how can I say this? Jason Lee is full of shit. I'm not sure how much more I need to say after that, but Jason Lee is full of shit. Why everybody picking on Rosenberg? I don't know and I don't care. It could be any number of reasons. It could be because he's white. It could be because he's Jewish and his last name is Rosenberg. And Israel got last names like Rosenberg looking not too popular these days. Those names ain't too sexy these days. However, Jason Lee is dead ass wrong and full of shit. Rose, there are plenty of vultures. First of all, being white isn't synonymous with being a vulture. Uh, I think a lot of people don't have a really clear view of what being a culture vulture is. Um, I don't think a lot of people know what. Oh, L, shout out any of course any shout out to the hoodie is getting an automatic stop. B74, what up? Hit the likes, hit the subs. That's how you show your boy love. That's me not wanting to get in trouble with B74. She is the mamacita of the chat. She is the big mama in this chat. Just so you know that. Yeah. Listen, there is no. I don't know if Jason knows what a vulture actually is, or if he knows what one is, and he just decided to label Rosenberg one just because. Like I'm not sure what part of the game we at with that, but let's just vulture someone who feeds off of the dead, AK, or someone who hovers around looking to take advantage and only give but never take. Right? Automatically, you have to exclude a handful of white people just because they're white out of that conversation. Automatically, Steve Rifkin, white as the palm side up, has given us Wu Tang, the second coming of Mob Deep after their Juvenile Hell era. Went back and re-signed them and gave us that the Alcoholics exhibit, Fat Joe, Remy Ma, Big Pun, Dead Prez. I don't know if I said that the licks, but like automatic. Charlie Funk, one of the goats, one of the goats. Got to get that out the paint. And you never heard any of them complaining about the deals that they got. Signed Raekwon to a solo deal. Signed deck to a solo deal. You don't hear about them beefing about, the kind of predatory deals that a lot of these dudes did. There are black people who are vultures too. All they do is take. They don't contribute anything. There are plenty of them, right? But let's just stick to the white narrative for now. Eminem, I see him get his name tossed in the pot as a culture vulture tons of times. Super stupid. Tell me you don't know anything about hip hop without telling me you don't know anything about hip hop. First of all, M ran with a crew called the Outsiders out of Jersey, right? Young Z, Pace One, oh Jesus, just because I want to say her name, Slang Ton, and Dirty Harriet herself. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. I don't even want to play games. Rod Digger, just a handful of the members of that crew that he was originally with. D12, he gave us that. D12, Denon Porter, rest in peace, Proof, a real one. Proof was a real one. Right here, one of my guys, Proof was a real one. Rest in peace, Proof. Gave us that crew, put all of his people on. Okay, you'll say it's easy to put somebody on who it's easy to put people on that are automatically around you or whatever. Corny cop out, but okay. He didn't know 50 Cent when he signed him. They didn't have a pre-existing relationship. M wasn't running through South Jamaica Queens when he gave us 50 Cent, which begot G Unit, Game, and all. And Game was around before that, but Game couldn't pop before 50 got his hands on him and gave him those hooks and put it together. As is, yeah. Thank you, Fambo Podcast. Thank you. You are familiar, Outsiders. Thank you. Michael Brown, absolutely that Cowboys outside of track, Fuji's and the Outsiders. Rest in peace, John Forte. One time for all the legends I'm naming. Rest in peace to Slang Tongue. But I digress. Gave us 50 Cent. Gave us 50 Cent. Lloyd Banks, The Game, Tony Yayo, Young Buck. Now the crew ended up in shambles, but a lot of crews do. It doesn't mean he did. All of this comes from the Eminem tree. Did he stop there? No. Ran back around and brought Griselda to the table. Boom bap, upstate New York, were doing their numbers beforehand, but gave them a national stage. That was like 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. Griselda, excuse me, they've been doing their thing 10, 12, but you get my point. Put them on. You can't call that man a vulture at all. The man is given just as much, if not more, than he's taken. Now let's get around to Rosenberg. If you listen to Late Night with Rosenberg, you heard obscure lyricists who you never would have heard from before. You never would have heard. You may have never heard of again because it's not like the rest of the station over at not like the rest of Hot 97 was jumping to give these dudes a chance. But go look up Homeboy Sandman. What's people's definition of a vulture? B, we were just talking about that. I don't think these folks know what a vulture actually is when they go to label somebody one. So fast forward to the conversation I saw between Jay, just a snippet. I just watched the snippet because I'm not about to give that full attention. There's no saying that I won't go watch the whole thing, but I'm not at the time I got my own stuff I'm working on and giving time to, but I guess I'm giving time to it this way. Listen, I watched Jason Lee say, I'm not aware of what you've done. Educate me. Okay, fair enough. It could be argued that maybe you should have educated yourself before you called someone a vulture. Might have been good to do that. kind of do a quick Google search and quick spin and figure that out before you called him a vulture. But okay, you waited for him to educate you. Then he proceeds to tell you exactly what he's done. Shout out to L. Shout out for the gift. Yeah, this gift thing is kind of nice, ain't it? B, just like on TikTok, it's crazy. I don't even rock over on TikTok like that, but this is kind of dope. Um, Shout out to L. Word. Um, oh, if Sambo podcast, you just subscribed. Welcome, welcome to the home of the worldwide mechanics. We get down like this around here. We got a couple people from outside of the time zone and that you need a passport to check for in these comments as we speak. It's pretty cool families. It's pretty nice wave around here. And we appreciate the support. Thank you, B, for reminding me how to. I told you, B is the big mama of the chat. I told you. She's big. She's big mama. I told you. She's big mama of the chat. She be checking me and keeping my. She's big mama. I ain't even mad at it. Not at all. One time for B74. But I digress. I'm watching the conversation. Rosenberg's, Jason says, I'm not aware of the work you've done. Educate me. Peter proceeds to educate him. He starts talking about the underground work he did, the up and coming YouTuber, and the fact that he had a hand in the ASAP movements popularity, not just one dude, but like getting their records, cleaning them up for radio and passing them out to other DJs. And let me tell you, that's something that cost money to get done. If he did that for free, or even if he did it, period, he gets the credit. But if he did that for free, that means something. Back in those times, what Hot 97 represented, the fact that that was a gateway to a lot of different folks. Oh yeah, that's a thing. Pardon me. Got a phone call. And is the phone call gonna try and come up online? Yeah, it's gonna try. That's a thing. That's a that counts. Calvin perfectly said, if a person needs to ask what Rosenberg has done, means you don't know about you. Yeah, you don't know ish about the culture. Which okay, and let me wrap this up. Let me land this plane. They start going back and forth. Rosenberg starts educating them on what he's done. You can tell that Jason is only he's listening, but he's waiting for his turn to talk. And then he completely switches the topic or conflates the issue, however you want to call it, and decides to point out that, yeah, that's all well and good. As he's being educated, he then proceeds to disregard and disrespect said education, disregard and disrespect the work that he asked to hear, the resume he asked to hear, and says, but like, when niggas like George Floyd is getting killed, I see, you definitely didn't Google, because you'd have saw, if you had, you would have seen the same thing I saw. I better make this quick, because apparently the powers that be are doing their best to screw this stream up. Listen, please don't get him. First of all, apologies for the interruption, technical difficulties, and all that good stuff. Um, am I back? Can you see me? Okay, cool. Thank you, Just, for doing what you can to keep the party going. Thank you, B74, for being exactly who you are. And we back in the building. Listen, man, before something else happens, and I'm gonna make this brief. Jason starts asking him, well, educate me. Peter does so. Jason then proceeds to poo-poo all over the said education and say, but when niggas like George Floyd is dying, Peter has to stop him. Oh, I absolutely spoke out when that happened. 100% I spoke out. And I speak out on LGBTQ rights. And then Jason, I didn't even want I wanted Rosenberg to actually cut him off at the pass and let him know, bro, first of all, there's a difference between hip hop culture, which is the subject, and Black people, like now we're off on a completely different tangent. Like we're talking about crime. You want him to start talking about police violence, and but the thing is, he does. He does. Not that if he didn't talk about that, that would make him a vulture in my eyes, because we were talking about the music business. But the fact is, he does speak on that. So now what happens? Jason then proceeds to tell them, well, you don't suck and you're not black. And I didn't know that being a member of said group was a prerequisite for standing up for the right thing and saying what's right when it comes to that group. Lyricist Global, here's my thing, and I'm gonna put it this way. I find Rosenberg's contributions to this culture a lot more. I assign a lot more value to Rosenberg's contributions than I do to Jason Lee's. Jason Lee, I know him from gossip. I know you for perpetuating and spreading the kind of information that doesn't do anyone any good, but a lot of people find entertaining. There's not a lot of value in that for me, as opposed to somebody like Rosenberg who puts people on. Clickbait king and says it's just because, and he's full of it. Yes, thank you, Calvin. Like MB74, you see it too. Lyricist Global, just like racists can pretend to not be racist, so can culture vultures. So while it's fuck Jason Lee, ignorant, gossipy ass, it's hard to tell who is who sometimes. Yes, that's true. But we can look at the resumes and start figuring out who's who if it's really like that. Just look at what the man's done. Look at who he's tried to put in position. Look at who he's given an alley oop to. Look at some of the names that he dropped during Late Night with Rosenberg, where he wasn't talking about gossipy shit. He was talking about artists who did not have the budget to be on mainstream radio. And here he is playing records that from people that a lot of us may never have heard from. I know because some of these guys were my friends at that time period. And the fact that they were getting any kind of look on that station specifically was a big deal. Some of them went on to like really get shows, start performing, start traveling, like really get a chance at this thing off the strength of Rosenberg. I can't sit here and disregard who Rosenberg is. And if you are disregarding him, it just tells me you haven't been paying attention. You don't really care about this culture. You're just looking for somebody to point a finger at. I've never lightly used the term vulture. I've used it a couple of times, but I've always found it very appropriate when I did. I've always done the homework and I've always tried to take a really close look at who I pointed that vulture hand at. And I got to tell you, Rosenberg's the wrong guy. And once again, I give a lot more value to I put way more value on Rosenberg's contributions to this thing than I do Jason's. That guy needs to stay on the stylist gossip lane. He is never in the rooms that Rosenberg had. Yeah. He's never yeah. I don't even get it. I don't even know how a guy like Jason decides to come at a dude like Rosenberg other than what Fambo was saying. It sparks a back and forth and it gets people talking, which I can dig. And in a world where attention is the new currency, this is worth a fortune. However, you're kind of exposing. You're also, I guess, all publicity is good publicity because you're definitely exposing yourself as someone who does not know, doesn't really care, and is really just shooting off at the hip. Rosenberg was there's plenty of vultures, and they don't look. Some of them look like this. Some of them look like this. There was a lot of them that you could have aimed that gun at, and Rosenberg was not the right one. He's not the guy to make that kind of case out of. You have not been paying attention. Rosenberg has been in places that Jason Lee would want a writer and a tetanus shot to visit. I'm talking about the dirty underground hip hop spots where the industry heads don't go. Rosenberg has listened to music that did not come with a budget. Just. Someone just showed a Ricky Lake show with Jason Lee on it when he was dating a woman and cheating on her. I don't know if it was a script he was trying to get on back then. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow. Oh, y'all are going off in these comments. I'm so into one of them. I'm not even looking. Y'all beat you. Push your wallet. Push your wallet. Like you do. You are wallet in here. But this isn't a I'm not here to slander anyone, least of all Jason Lee. However, let's just call a spade a spade. Let's just call it spade. Let's call it. No, push. Don't ever apologize for being who you are, bro. I'm not. I'm not anti. Just I say all that to say we are keeping it real. B. Thank you. You're what Big Mama said. We keeping it real in this piece. I don't see personally see cultural contributions coming from gossip sites. I don't know how that's culturally relevant at all. Spreading rumors and bad news and gossip and nonsense and the fuckboy shit that some of these dudes may get into, some of these ladies may get into, like it's just spreading that kind of. I don't. Who cares? How does that help anybody? It's entertaining, but how does it help? It's empty calories. It's literally the McDonald's of the culture. It's everywhere. You can't escape it, and it's probably bad for you. And you can't. It's hard to avoid, and everybody's indulged, but there's no health benefit to it whatsoever. So I don't know how a dude like Jason even fixes his face to come at a dude like Rosenberg outside of the obvious clickbait. I don't know. I don't even know how y'all end up in the same ring. Like from what I'm doing, I remember when I don't want to bring up anything old, but I do remember Royce 5'9" was getting attacked by somebody specific, another MC, a rapper, another MC, and he said, "Bro, a nigga like you beefing with a nigga like me don't even make sense." And that's how I look at this whole thing. This don't even make you coming at him don't even make sense. He's not in your way. He's not blocking your money, and he's actually contributing. If you was gonna go after a vulture, you should have went and actually found one. You going at a dude like that don't make no sense for anybody involved. We have to ask why Jason has decided to come at Rosenberg now. What BS is he up to? Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Something like that. Something like that. Or he just wants the attention that these kind of insults are going to cause. And if that's the case, rock out. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make you look any better. I guess you don't care about how you look to the very audience that these accusations would be defending. But I've seen personally Rosenberg do what he could to put people in position, and I've never seen Jason do that. And I'm not even talking about behind the scenes. I'm talking about out loud, really getting it popping. Music, artists, MCs, actually shining a light on them, giving them the attention for whatever kind of platform he had. That's what I know Rosenberg to do. Yes, call him whatever you want, a nerd, white boy, whatever it is. There are lots like him, but they don't all end up in the position that he's in, and they haven't all used their platforms the way he did. And if he's a nerd, he's the best kind of nerd. If he's a super fan, he's the best kind of super fan. He's literally out here putting his money where his mouth is, shining light on artists that would not get light without him. Like, I need that. I can't stress that enough. We wouldn't know who some of these people is. Some of them didn't make it. It didn't stop him. And I guess maybe I'm relating. I'm a little, incensed about the whole thing because that's what I do. I name a bunch of people who would not get light otherwise, who may not get light otherwise, people would overlook otherwise. I do that. I know what that is. I do that. And so does he. And so there are a bunch of us who do it, but like to single out Rosenberg and say you're a culture, how did you get that? How do you even defend that from a guy who's given more than he takes? His whole platform was based around underground, unknown MCs. You just picked the wrong dude, bro. Like, I'm not anti calling out culture vultures. Y'all know me. I'm not anti calling out a culture vulture, but you literally picked the wrong guy. And you picked the guy who, if I was white, I'd be that. Will I ignore that maybe Rosenberg has gotten opportunities and found himself in favorable situations that I myself wouldn't be because he's white and I'm not? Will I deny that? No. No. Same thing with Eminem, right? Same thing with uh Steve Rifkin. Same thing with anybody white. Yes, they're going to end up in favorable positions. That's the world we live in. That's the country we live in. But look what they did with the platform when they got it. You can't ignore that. You can't ignore that. That's not the thing you overlook. Yes, he got in a position because he was white. Look what he did with the position when he got it. There's no shooting past that and just pretending that that's not a thing. So with that said, again, I'm not gonna beat y'all in the head. Y'all tell me what y'all think. All right. I'm not doing pre-record. This is not pre-recorded show. We go live. I throw it right down. I post it right out, and the comments are open for everybody. I'll be down there having a conversation with y'all, but y'all let me know what y'all think. If I'm in the wrong, just say so. I'm not shooting anybody bail. I'm not necessarily defending anybody, but I am telling the truth. Even if telling the truth means defending somebody, I'm still telling the truth. If telling the truth means that I'm condemning somebody, I'm still telling the truth. And this is not a conversation I would have had Jason not been coming after Rosenberg and Rosenberg been forced to defend himself. So with that said, y'all see the tool salute. We're gonna shut this session down. Hang up your coveralls, hang up your tool belt. Let's get this thing off the rack. See where we at. Like, share, subscribe. Likes and subs is how you show your boy love. I appreciate everybody pulling up. God willing, 5 p.m. tomorrow, we will be back around here. But just in case we're not, make sure you set the alert to this page, fam. But you just subscribed. Make sure you go and hit your alert so you know when I'm pulling up, so we can get into another live conversation. In the meantime, in between time, I'm gonna be down in the comment section having this talk with y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all think. If I'm bugging, then say so. But if I'm not, say so. And if you see somebody saying I'm bugging and you don't think I'm bugging, then tell them they bugging. Say so. Uh, Thank y'all for pulling up. God bless. Love y'all. Shout out to the mechanics worldwide. The garage is now officially closed for the evening. God bless.